Alright, we're looking pretty good today. I think we got, it's just shy of 10 I think, but the lift looks good. Our rudder trim's off, but this will shrink when it gets up in the air, and it'll come back around to being trimmed out. My up trim, down trim is going to be out a little bit. It gets warm on the ground, night rod expands. Then when I fly, I'm wiping my wings off, getting all the sand bumps off it, off the leading edges at least. And so I'm betting that trim will come back in. Where's he at? Alright, yeah, it's definitely from the south a little bit. Now that I get this glider in my hands, I should maybe walk down there, because that's fun when it's blowing a little bit like this. Alright. Right, left, up, down. It's windy enough to make it uncomfortable for me to hold. And they said they were going all the way back, so I'm probably going to be all by my lonesome. Whoa! There's the wind direction. My rudder trim's off, but it'll come back around like I said. And it sure is bumpy. To show my wing flex. Wind's going to be better, or the lift's going to be better off over here to my left. That's why I wanted to go stand over there, but that's alright. Man, we got good lift. Back a little bit, and I'm going to do a roll. Yep, sort of. I tweaked my elevator. Oh well. Dang it. So I didn't have the height to pick up enough speed before I started my roll. Yeah, it's definitely southy. Cap for the foam on the left of my eye, thinking that's a parasail coming. Wind being south, I'm standing back from the ultimately what is the face, right? So I got to keep myself out in front a little bit more than usual. Right there's where the lift begins. You can see it hit the turbulence, right? Yeah. It's windy enough to be turbulent behind that. I was hoping to do some zoomies today, but it's got to be just the right wind direction. What's a zoomie? Yeah, I'll show you someday. Good lift over there. Look at that. Yee-hee-hee-hee. I keep seeing that white on the side of my eye going, nope, parasail. There's a good lift over there. Holy smokes. Damn, when it pulls up again, darn it. quickly. I love it. Watching him because I want to do another roll, and he's going to have to turn away first before I decide to do it. Speed, down elevator, full rudder, down elevator through almost all of that. Initially just for the speed, so it doesn't pull up when it's picked up speed. Standing way out front like that because it's really fun there, but that's alright. Puts me closer to the camera, but I think I'll be alright. This is probably my last day out with this one. I'm going to switch back to my aileron elevator birds. Probably the fish. Supposed to have some pretty high winds coming up in a few days. I might get my flying wing delta out. I haven't flown it for quite some time, and I keep picking up that white out of the corner of my eye thinking it's a parasail. It's nimble because it'll snap spin, right? You just go full rudder, full up, it's going to rotate. Rotate, baby. Yeah. Definitely not landing up here today. I have to go back, walk back to my landing site. I'm probably going to show you a little bit of footage of my landing site too, just to explain it. It's gotten kind of difficult in a way. I mean, it's still no turbulence, so I mean, right? But there's wind on the ground now. You can be on the ground and the wind direction will change a little bit. That'll push your tail over, get a wing up into the air, and then flip itself over, parked on the damn ground. So if you're landing and you're skidding along, you got to really be careful. You let that tip drag, you are done. Tip drags, it rotates, wind gets under the other wing, and over she goes. Landing in it's still kind of rising terrain where I'm landing, so it's kind of lifty, right? So you don't just land and immediately slide to a stop. It just keeps coming and coming and coming. Probably best to just try to catch it. Do some of them pirouettes to the left. Pick up some speed, and around we go. You guys can really see these wings bending, right? They're not really bending that much. It's just got a lot of dihedral. And my dihedral is actually slightly curved. It's got, the wings aren't flat. I curved them up by moistening moistening the top sheeting and then gluing it on, and then when the sheeting shrunk, it pulled the tips up a little bit. The whole wing kind of curved up. Kind of like a Hobie, but it ain't no Hobie. Not a Hobie bend by any means, but they are curved a little bit. I guess an inch on each wing, curved up. Maybe not quite that much, but it's definitely curved. You sit it flat on the table and you go, oh yeah, those wings aren't flat. They got a curve to them. And this thing's 40 years old, and the wings are made to flex like a diving board, best way I could describe it, built to flex. But they're 40 years old, so the spring has been sprung, so to speak, right? Yeah. These things are really flex in high winds. They really flex. But they don't break. They're meant to flex. Actually built for it. It says so right in the plans. And that helps you turn, because when you're in a turn and your wings are flexing, you've got extra dihedral. Yeah, you've got extra rudder then too, right? Look at the lift today. Wow. Is like perfect for a Windfree. I wanted more to really do some really crazy stuff, but this is like nice for a Windfree. This is beautiful. Good lift. There's more lift than there is wind. The wind doesn't suggest that there'd be this much lift out here, so that's a good thing. That's why it's a little bumpy, I think. Yeah, I like doing those without stalling it too. Windfree kind of day. It's nice. See, I can control the stall. It starts to snap. I go back to about half elevator, and it continues the stall spin, but it softens it up a lot. Really, really controllable. You can pop it into a snap and then release it, and it stops snapping, but still maintains a rotation. There's nothing like a Windfree, guys. There's a company rebuilding this. Skybench. Recommend the dihedral I've got in this one, which is about 7.5 degrees on each side. I don't know what he's going to put in his, but you're going to be building the kit, so you'll be able to modify it. 7.5 degrees each side, 15 degrees overall. And that's what this has got, and that's why it flies so. That's why this one flies so good. And still thermals just fine. I mean, these things thermal really well. This one's way heavier than my other one. This one's 2 pounds, 3.3 ounces. My other one, I've unweighted it down to 1 pound, 15.8 ounces. It is just a featherweight. I did that to get the CG way back because I want it to snap like this one does, but it's just not going to make it because it doesn't have the dihedral. It's got 6 degrees on each side, and so that 1.5 degrees each side, that's a lot. It's a lot for to make the rudder better, and I make the rudder bigger too. And that's about the only changes I do to it. Other than that, it's the stock kit. Of course, this being 40 years old, is obviously a Marks Models kit. It was re-kitted by somebody else a while back, and that's the one I've got. It was built by a subscriber of mine, and he realized he was just too old to be hiking up the hills and stuff, so I picked it up from him, my other Windfree that you've seen. would be great for thermaling because it's so light. This one's actually light. I mean, good grief, a 100-inch span, and it weighs 2 pounds 3 ounces, 2 pounds 3.3 ounces. And I could take some weight out of this one if I wanted to, but I've experimented with this one and just found, what does it like? And because I've got all this dihedral, I don't have to be all that tail heavy to make it snap spin. It just makes so much power for the rudder being all that dihedral. So this one penetrates a lot better. I think it's less draggy overall too, because I weighted my other one down, not quite this heavy, but nearly. I added 3 ounces to it, $3 worth of quarters. Maybe it wasn't quite 3 ounces, but I weighted it down, and it still didn't do what this one does as far as it. Look at this, how this thing penetrates. It's like, man, you want to go, you just put your nose down, hold it down, and it's got good legs. It gets around. The other one's more draggy. The fuselage is slightly wider. That might have something to do with it, but I can't figure out why it's so much more draggy than this one overall, because that's not enough to cause what I see. As far as this one, the difference between the two. You can't say it's wing to tail incidence because it's a full flying stabilizer, right? And the fuselage incidence, in other words, the angle the wings are mounted up on the wing, it's the same as this one, so that can't be it either. The fuselage flying at a different angle, right? Because of the wings. The wind just lightened up a little bit on me, but that's just going to be it. Yeah, I love Windfrees. As far as rudder elevator, it's my favorite. I love my Aquila too. And of course the 2 meter ones, 6 footers, they're a lot of fun too. They're really aerobatic. As aerobatic as this one. Now that's what I like. See, that's what I'm saying about the Windfree. And they probably have more wing area than this thing does. This has 560 inches of wing area. That's it. A lot of the 2 meters have 650. At least 600. The Sagita, remember the old Sagita? The 2 meter Sagita, it had 600. This has only got 560. It's those high aspect ratio wings on this thing that make it penetrate so well. It's low drag. Super high aspect ratio. And yet it'll still all do these snaps and rolls, and yeah, there's nothing like a Windfree. I just love them to death. I'll be buying one of those guys' kits. Even though I've got 2, I'm going to have one of his kits and put another one together. Collection of Windfrees. They're just fun. Alright, I'm down to 10.1. Still good. Oh, I should reset my camera off and then back on. I'm supposed to do that before 17 minutes happens, but I'll bet you I didn't make it. I'll find out on the video, won't I? Now you just start having so much fun, time flies. It'll continue to record once, going past the 17 minutes and 43 seconds I think it is, but it won't do it twice. And now that I've turned it off and back on again, I think it'll go ahead and continue on even if I go past 17 minutes even right now. But I don't know, I've never done that. We should take a break before then. My leg is feeling kind of, standing on this uneven ground and feeling like I need to take a break. About 20 minutes or so I usually take a break, 25. Just so much fun. So not boring, right? thing it does is loops, of course. Yeah, I am thinking about a break. I'm definitely not landing up here today. No way. I'll hit turbulence and rotors that my rotor won't be able to counter. So I'll have to walk back up to my landing zone. It's not too bad of a hike. As long as I can get this thing up high enough and I can keep sight of it as I go down in between these valleys and stuff, I get there relatively. Look at the lift. Yee-hee-hee-hee. Wish I had a buddy here with me. I'd just hand it off to him. Take my brake that way. That's what we used to do. And we used to do that because we didn't have a landing zone. So every time you landed, it was a maybe crash and done for the day. Workbench time, right? So we just hand it off back and forth. Get done with mine, I'd finally go ahead and land it, and he'd fly his. We'd do the same thing. I am ready for a break. My foot's going to sleep standing here. This is good on your legs. I'm standing on uneven ground. I had a hike up in the sand on the way up here. Hiking up a sand dune, right? Yeah. It's not all that bad, but the older folks don't like it. What am I saying? I am an older folk. Look at the lift I've got over there. Man. Guys that haven't done this before, I mean, look at the lift. Is there anything to be afraid of here? Not having an engine? No. Or a motor? You know, electric being a motor and gas being an engine. But look, all I gotta do is fly level, head myself into the wind a little bit, stay here, stay in front of the dune. You're going up. Get down too low, shoot, you can go right back up. No problem. Oh. My left leg doesn't usually do this. I must have been standing on it funny. Back to landing zone. I'll turn the camera off. See you guys there. Alright, this is where I've kind of determined is the best place to land. See a little peak right there? That's where I was. Just down in front of it. I've forfeited altitude twice already. Kind of rising right here, so it flattens out back there, but I also can't go too far back because it's an instant crash. Alright, got some speed, I'm down low. Ooh, I might be too low. Okay. Never let my way actually level out. Swing it around. Telling you, I mean, it's flying right now. It's trying to fly. Squeeze it between my knees. Alright, I'll give you a tour. I have cut the video before this. Okay, here's where I landed. You can see how it comes up steeply and then rounds off. There's a little pocket there. I could probably land it there and it wouldn't be windy on the ground there. Then it starts rising back up again, and that's the lift. You saw I was landing in a lift zone, like I was saying, right? So let's walk back. I always stand right facing to that. That's where I was. so it's still a little bit rotary. You saw it kind of wiggle woggling, nothing out of control. But if I landed it past this now we're flat. There's probably not much wind on the ground, but I can't come up short. Yeah, it wouldn't blow it over on the ground. And I want to show you this edge. And if you come up short, it's going to slide down tail first, pick up speed, flip over. Yeah, that's a steep. You come up short, you better stick it in so it doesn't slide back down. Because you go down tail first, whoop, come up, boom.